Some men learn to carry violence like a quiet shadow. Elias Kane had carried his for 17 years as a Force Recon Marine, slipping into places that never made the news and walking out like nothing happened. He returned to quiet Ridgewood, Pennsylvania at age 42 with a ruined right knee, scars he never discussed, and a 16-year-old son named Caleb who made him believe he'd done at least one thing right in this world. Caleb's mother had died suddenly when he was 8. Elias learned to be both father and mother in a town that rewarded certain families with total immunity. At Ridgewood High, those families owned the football program. Coach Harlan Voss had turned it into a local dynasty, for district titles, a locker room full of trophies, and a toxic culture so entrenched it felt permanent. The 6 starting players moved like princes. Their fathers sat on the town council, ran the biggest construction firms, and controlled school board votes. They had learned one lesson well: rules were for other people. Caleb Kane, the quiet new kid whose dad fixed engines for a living and kept to himself, didn't belong in their world. They decided to teach him that lesson in the back parking lot after practice. 3 weeks earlier, Caleb had done something dangerous. He wrote a detailed letter to the athletic director about needles in the trash cans, unnatural muscle gains, and the sudden aggression that followed. The director showed the letter to Coach Voss. Voss handed it to the team captain with a knowing look. Elias was repairing a motorcycle in his garage when the call came. The vice principal's voice shook as she explained, Caleb had been jumped by 6 football players. They didn't stop when he hit the ground. He was at Mercy General with a collapsed lung, cracked ribs, and internal bruising. Elias didn't shout. He simply locked the garage and drove. At the hospital, Caleb looked small in the bed, tubes running everywhere. His face was mostly untouched. They had aimed for the body, the pain that lingers. Elias sat motionless for hours, eyes steady, face unreadable. The next morning he visited the principal, wearing a plain work shirt and carrying nothing but calm resolve. Principal Denise Harper offered practice sympathy and talked about gathering facts and possible provocation. She suggested Caleb might have started it. Elias smiled faintly, the smile of a man whose suspicions had just been confirmed, and left without another word. A teacher who witnessed the attack quietly pulled him aside in the hallway. She had recorded the entire beating from her classroom window. It was clearly planned. Elias asked her to keep the video safe. "You'll know when it's time," he said. What no one in Ridgewood understood was the kind of man Elias Kane truly was. Force Recon taught him more than combat. It taught patience, intelligence gathering, and mapping every weakness before striking. He spent the next days watching the 6 boys, learning their routines, their safe places, their father's secrets. One by one, the attackers began disappearing for short periods and returning broken. Vague stories of accidents, visible fear in their eyes, and no police reports filed. The coach's truck was found abandoned. He resurfaced days later a changed man and immediately resigned. Then the 6 powerful fathers showed up at Elias's house at dusk, expecting to intimidate a lone widower. Elias stepped onto the porch holding only his phone. On the screen played clear video evidence of the premeditated assault, the athletic director's confession about ignoring the steroid complaint, and a meticulously prepared dossier detailing every shady deal, conflict of interest, and potential federal violation tied to the 6 men. The fathers went pale as Elias calmly laid out their choices, signed confessions from their sons admitting the attack, or he would hit send on everything. The silence stretched. One father finally whispered, "Get the papers." 2 days later the school board launched a full investigation. The coach was gone. The principal was suspended. The program was shut down. Scholarships vanished. On a quiet October evening, Caleb sat on the porch with his father, still moving gingerly. "What really happened to them?" he asked. Elias sipped his coffee and looked into the distance. "Justice found them." Caleb studied his dad for a long moment. "You okay?" Elias gave the smallest nod. "Yeah. We both are now."